Let's get to the top story that made it in. Story number 8. If the economy is doing well, why are so many legendary businesses in America closing or downsizing? Ford to cut 12,000 jobs in Europe, if you haven't heard. Ahead of meeting with, I guess, a China leader, Trump voices optimism for productive trade talks. The Trump effect. Will his trade talks change anything? Or will China just close the door and go someplace else? Or have China... I had somebody come into my office this week and tell me that China's the biggest threat to everybody. And he had a serious face. And he was basically making the case that China is who we need to be keeping an eye on. And the thing is that there's two sides of this coin, because people think that Trump may be right for going after China because they've been rebuilding their military. There's a bill that they're speaking of talking about that. There's a bill that would identify companies moving jobs overseas. So I think this I forget who proposed this bill, but they're trying to keep a tab on the companies that are leaving America and going overseas to get cheaper labor. And this has created some stir up in a lot of stories. FedEx sues U.S. government over export restrictions that affect the Chinese company Huawei. And they're saying that a lot of companies are upset with this China stuff, all these trade deals. It's changing a lot of stuff around, and a lot of companies are losing money. And I'm telling you, it's crippling the valley. That's why a lot of people are starting to open businesses up, because they're seeing that they can no longer depend on the corporations. They may have to dive in and try to do it themselves. Investors say oil prices won't hit $80 unless there's a war. Let's get to the local stories that made it. Those are the top 8 stories. Local stories that made it in. Elliott set to become intern football coach at Fitch. Union says that more needs to be done to ensure local workers will get work on projects like home goods. Motorists will pay an extra 10.5 cents per gallon. And Mike DeWine set to meet with top lawmakers as Ohio budget deadline looms. Flooding continues to frustrate Boardman residents. They're reaching a boiling point. GM is investing $4.2 billion in plants in Texas, Michigan, and Indiana, and Ohio. Hopefully they come to the valley. We need some help. We're just hanging on. New Ace Hardware opens up in Boardman. I want to thank you for tuning in, and thanks to all the news outlets and journalists that keep us all informed. You deserve all the credit. I am just the mediator. I want to thank you folks so much for tuning in this week, and I'm telling you right now, if you're not informed, you may be losing out on not only your own self worth, what you're worth, but you may be depriving you, your family, the people around you. A lot of that's why you have to stay well read, and you have to just try to stay afloat, because this new environment is hostile, folks. There's a lot happening in the news, a lot happening on the workroom floor. People are losing their jobs. We're getting hit hard up here up north, and we need investors. I'm calling out, if you're starting a business, if you're a bank, if you know anything about business, this may be the best time to put your skills to work. If you're a college student and you just graduated and you trying to get a loan and you want to start a nonprofit, now may be the time for you to step into the market. And now may be the time for you to change and save a lot of people's life. If you could do anything to change anybody's life, work and wisdom is probably the best way to do it. I want to thank you so much for tuning to the Mediator this week. And man, I'm telling you, I'm working overtime. If you could give me any help and by helping out my fellow community, that would be beneficial. I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget about us here up north. Investors, entrepreneurs, if you're out there, this community needs investing. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you for tuning to the media with me, Brian West. I am out of here. Have a good week.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.